Welcome to the world of Game of Thrones. I am Nikolai Kosterwaller from the Denmark. I play Jaime Lannister, the one-armed bandit.
And I'm Lena Headey, and I play Varys.
You're great at that.
Thank you.
And who else have we got?
And I'm Conleth, the cinematographer with a very German accent.
Alles good.
And this is the Game of the Thrones, as my daughter
The Game
calls
of
it.
Thorns, as a woman said to me
Really?
over my hedge once. Are you the boy in Game of Thorns?
What did you reply?
Yes, it's a much easier. You always think, what's the quickest way out of this situation?
Yes,
So you
it's
just go,
usually
yeah.
That's a good, fast, short.
Fabian Wagner. Dave Hill, no relation.
And look, it goes on. Duncan, Lisa,
Greg.
Lovely crew, really. Lovely crew.
We're all unemployed now. None of them will ever work again.
Yeah.
Brian.
George. Well, he's probably going to work again.
I call him Gurr. Gurr Martin.
The nutter.
Well, you. Frank.
And Bernadette.
Bernie.
I didn't know her name was Bernadette until I saw the titles.
What did you think Bernie was short for? Bernard?
Fred.
She's the best.
So, shh.
It's on now.
Shh. Can we speak? I think so.
Down in front. Yeah. Have you signed the petition yet, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Me too. So I'll see you all in August.
Yes.
That's what Nikolai said.
Look
Beautiful.
at this.
Do my own stunts there.
Yeah,
My own
you
stunts. My
did.
own.
So,
handwriting.
interesting fact, we had a special handwritist came in to do
No.
that special handwriting, and Conleth, an extremely valuable performer,
Bless you.
wrote it by himself. He said,
Yes.
I don't need a hand artist. And then he had to keep covering it up. How many times
Yes.
did you write that, Conleth?
Several. No. No children again.
No children.
Okay,
God
again.
damn it. I feel like this was the first scene we filmed of that season together. Is that right?
Oh. I think that's very, very possible.
And then I think
Yes.
the next day we filmed your death scene.
Yes.
the
And
job.
Dave and Dan came to neither. I think it was too emotional for them.
I think it was. I think it's important to mention, because we are eventually going to get to the death scene. That
What? Oh, spoiler! Who
But-
dies?
nobody of any consequence. We filmed the death scene on 3 different occasions over the
Oh, yeah.
span of 4 months.
I know.
That's
know.
interesting.
I really thought it was a piss take, and I thought there was somebody videoing me being videoed.
Interesting and sad.
Yeah.
It was an extended death.
Yeah.
The most extended death I think we've ever
How many
filmed.
times can one actor be killed?
Yes.
Answers on the postcard. Some asshole wrote, "You've only got one set of footprints. You should have 2." And you're going like, "Why? Did I fly there?" Look at that beautiful shot. Well done, you people behind the camera. This, incidentally, is a place called Ballantoy. It's about 5 minutes from where I live, so I was able to get out of my own bed and go to work. It's not often you can say that.
It's absolutely true.
Did you come in the boat? Did you come to set on that boat in the background?
No way, mate. No way.
They wouldn't allow us to put that boat in the water. They said the sea was too rough. And then for the next 6 months, see that little white thing behind the two of you?
Yeah. Yes, the rock.
Dave and Dan would always say, "Why is there a plastic bag?"
Yeah, I know. I did think that the first time I saw it.
Listen, this is a very important scene. Do you know why?
Sorry. Point of, what's the word you say? Point of order. Kit Harington used to always complain about his costume being the heaviest. Fact, measured by wardrobe, mine was the heaviest.
It was heavier.
Yes, than all his moaning. I mean, I think Rory is probably heavier when you add his sort of thing over his face, but
apart from that, no, I can
that's
see
like
that.
Yeah, it's so heavy. It was so heavy. It was crazy.
If I remember, on that particular day, it was extremely cold, and Kit's kilt kept on getting like one bit stuck in front of the other, and he found that very frustrating, which he mentioned on multiple
nobody
occasions.
knows how Kit suffers, you see.
Well, now they do.
Yes, well, that's true.
This was on a green screen.
That was on a green screen. Peter was not there, but Peter
I can't
was.
see what's going on. Did Fabian film this bit? I can't see anything.
Must have been.
Jesus, is that the usherette in the cinema? We need a torch.
Who is that? Oh my God.
That's Peter. Wait till you see, the transformation.
I like this shot.
Yeah.
I like this shot.
You remember that
Very symbolic.
We shot this a lot.
Did you?
But you only used it once.
We only used it once, yeah.
Oh, right.
I think it was in the cut a couple of times and it just got reduced to the one time. I was glad it was in the cut.
Does it take you a long, long time when you're at it, and like, to decide what to leave and what to keep?
It's surprisingly, it doesn't. You kind of like,
Cool.
you remember the things you liked and then you forget the things that you didn't like. And on occasion, you go, oh my God, we shot that.
He's touting on me now. He's like, he's gone home with his knees in a jiffy bag for telling on me.
He absolutely has.
Yeah. You don't tout on friends. Look how crazy she's already.
Yeah.
Because you told me.
She's so good.
She's having a really bad hair day as well. We roughed her up for this one, but it was good. I like this scene. This was, I think, the first scene that we shot this season.
Really? Wow.
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
Right,
I think it was.
You're going to say that for every scene, aren't you? I
We
believe.
shot that with the wolf unit, didn't we?
We did. We shot that with the wolf unit. It was the first scene we shot this season.
It was.
No. The first scene we shot was with Connolith in the that opening scene that we just saw where he was writing all by himself. And then we shot this one the next day. And then after that, we shot Connolith dying for the first time.
For the first time. It was so good. We did it 7 times.
I know. It was amazing.
Look at Amelia. Do you know the day that I was, spoiler coming up, killed off, she baked me beautiful biscuits and wrote a lovely note saying, I'm so sorry that we're burning you. Which is so sweet.
Amelia wrote that?
Yeah.
That's
made
nice.
These lovely biscuits,
That's very
fiery
sweet.
biscuits. I know, she's the best.
Did you send her a little kind of letter opener, like a mini dagger or something when
I
she
just
was
said,
killed?
don't speak to me. I'll never forgive you, I said to her. Oh, look at her though. She's so good.
She was very good in this. It was one of my favourite scenes to direct her in, I've got to say.
So how many episodes? Oh, look. Hot chocolate.
Look, see, he's still writing. But do you remember, and I would like to know, Connolith,
the rings,
the symbolic meaning of the rings?
Do you know what it was? Was in my head, he knew he was going to be burned. And he just went, I don't want to feel the pain of metal melting into my hands, as on top of everything else. And also, they wouldn't identify him then. And he's not loyal to anyone. This is his last, because all those rings, the one was given by her to all of her council, as in Khaleesi. And so he's going, right, I'm not loyal to anybody now. I'm on my own. I'm completely naked now. It wasn't a homage to, I didn't know about the other.
I didn't know about that either. What I knew is that we were doing close-ups of your hands, and you started taking your rings off, and I was like, that looks really good. And Fabian said, let's shoot it.
Well, I think it was about loyalty. The way Peter would take his badge off or whatever. It's like, no, I'm not loyal to anyone anymore. It's just me. I don't know why she's there. Oh, that was just before it got torrential, do you remember?
Just before.
Yeah, that was terrible.
This, I would like to say, was probably, I think there's been 2 or 3 times in my experience in Thrones that we've ever stopped shooting.
Yeah, that's right.
And this because of wet weather, and this was one of them.
Oh, but it was
It
straight.
also-
It was just like spears of rain. See
It
what?
was.
Well seen. I'm not.
And
a
it has
writer.
to get very bad for us to stop shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that's the whole rule on Thrones, is like we shoot
No matter what.
no matter what. So this was shot on the location, and then every time we cut to Amelia and Kit, it was shot on a green screen in the Dragon Throne Room
Castle Ray. That's
after
right,
we'd
in
shot the
Belfast.
Dragon Throne Room scene. And then we shot the initial burning here, and then we reshot it again somewhere else as well, because we shot it 3 times. I can't remember the third time was.
Castle Ray.
Oh,
In
it
that
was in
studio?
Castle Ray?
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember?
Oh, bloody hell.
My last day, my very last day on
Yes.
Game of Thrones was filming my death for the 47th time. Oh.
And you see that bit, I've just got to say something about that I really liked. I remember when we were shooting that, and we were talking about what that final moment was, and I can't remember if it was in the script or not, but then when Peter reached out and touched you and you reacted, and we filmed it the first time, and I asked you about it, why reacting in that way?
That's
and,
right.
And you said to me, because he's never been touched before.
Yeah, well, not like that with love. Yeah, he's probably been, thrown about when he was a kid by all those horrible people, but yeah, that's the first time somebody, and I think Littlefinger once put his arm on his shoulder, and he, that's such a good shot. That's just to be part of all that is fantastic. But look at that, though. He thought about it, didn't he? He did think about it. Oh, God.
He did.
Oh.
This works out all right.
Yeah.
Yikes. Right, that's you then.
Right, bye. Thanks for all the lovely money and fame. Bye.
And you know what? We really burned. That is kind of burning.
Yeah.
We just set them alight
Again,
just for a couple of
lots of
seconds.
takes. And then I rolled over and burnt. Oh, look, that's a cousin of mine.
Clever cut. Clever cut.
Clever cut. Fire to fire. Do you see what they did?
Was this Tim as well? Yeah, it was.
Was this for Tim?
Tim Porter. He was
This was.
cutting
Oh
this
yeah,
one.
yeah. This is Tim. I think Tim has edited all of my episodes except for The Gift. And I do remember about this scene thinking 2 things. One is I really liked these wide shots over the table.
Mm.
And the 2 is the amount of hassle we gave him about it having this burning flame on the other side. We wanted a burning, what was it, a torch or something we could put between them later on that we never used, but we gave them so much grief about it and then we never bothered. And I always felt slightly bad about that.
What about, we have to talk about Jacob, though. Just so, like that last season just stepped up and,
He was great.
He was amazing.
He was great. He was great, except the only thing I've got to say is he wasn't fantastic at throwing that thing into the fire in exactly the same position. I think he was traumatized at the time, but he just kept throwing it in a different position. And I was like, Jacob, if you fail me again, I'll just do another take.
Grumpy. I can imagine you said that with love and patience.
See, I'm not the only one.
No.
I'm telling you that.
Oh, I have a story.
No, but
I have a story
Babs,
about
I was
the crypt.
lying for dramatic effect.
Oh, I
just-
see. You see, that's how clever.
This is because it's a commentary and we're trying to keep it interesting.
I know. I hated that room, I have to say.
You hated that
Of
room.
all the sets, it was the most, dark and... I have to say to both of you, I feel a bit of a fraud because all these people that you're seeing every week, every year, week in, week out, did do lots and lots of really hard physical work and 55 night shoots and all that kind of stuff. And they were Game of Thrones. I was just row of cushions. I just sat and bitched with Dinklage and then got home to my garden, It was just... So I do feel a bit of a fraud.
That's why we film the death scene so many times, is to make it hard so that you could be killed multiple times.
That's
so it was like a never-ending death.
Kind of you, yes.
Here I have a question, because
Yeah.
it's actually something quite interesting. Is what's it like to shoot death scenes for a character?
Well, I was, do you know what? All sense went out the window when I read it. And yet when I read it, I still was like gobsmacked. I went, oh, to get so near, but not just to... Everything made sense on
Make it
paper,
thin.
but in your head and your heart, you're just like, oh, I failed somehow. I've let them down. So stupid.
But I think the thing is, and it's worth mentioning, because I think it's an interesting part of acting and living with a character for a long time, is yes, you act the character. Yes, it's not real.
Yeah.
But you get to know a character in the same way that the audiences have got to know these characters over the years. And you, for all their faults and all the things you may or may not agree with them.
Him. Yeah. When anybody talks about it.
But you end up having this relationship with them. So when you kill a character, even though it's not real, there is a death that happens. And I think that affects people, lots of people, in different ways. And I feel like I've been involved in like death scenes and numerous characters, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Because
No, it was. It really was. But it was at the time. But, now I look at it and go, what a brilliant death scene. What a fantastic way to go out. And the thing is that, I've been interviewed and I said at the time I felt shit, and then balanced it by saying, but now I realize the best job I ever had, and the people that I loved working with. And anyway, just be rest assured I loved every minute of it.
Oh no! This is one of my favorite shots that I've ever done in this, that Fabs has ever done.
The low angle wide, right?
Low angle looking at her. We called it the fascist shot.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Low angle looking at the throne. It also had another shot which they put a tiny little bit in at the end, which was her through some candles. And there's this
long
one
lens track,
lens, and it was really, really, really pretty, but it had something in front of it, and so David and Dan didn't want it.
Just didn't work.
They were just no, you will not.
This is one of my favorite scenes of this episode.
Yeah. But that's
really
what I mean. Look at Jacob. Just like
he stepped up. This one, that one.
Yeah.
The thing that Peter had to do, which was, I think, quite interesting on this episode, is he knew as a character that he had messed up, and he was trying to make right, which was somehow out of character for him as well.
Yeah.
And I think that there was something pretty interesting about that, and difficult to play as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was very difficult, but so satisfying to change arcs. Like everybody goes on about, well, that's not what I thought it should have happened. Well, go and write your own fucking series then. Because the truth is, those kind of things, as hard as they are, to you as a human and to your ego and everything else, they're brilliant. That's why the show was always brilliant. Look what happened when Ned was killed off in the first series. And people went, this is effing shit. I'm never watching this again. How dare they? So they're never happy. Oh, look at that.
Oh no.
Oh, this is...
You know that she was in Chernobyl as well?
She was in Chernobyl, yeah, at the same time. Which is why we couldn't cut her hair. I mean, couldn't give her a wig or cut her hair.
What?
Yes. Believe it or not, we weren't allowed to change her hair at all because she was doing something else. I really like the shot. Do you know why?
Go ahead.
Because they're actually...
green screen.
Because it's against the green screen.
No way.
Yeah.
See, that's...
They're actually just sitting in a pool of water and we're just rocking it. There's two guys on either side. And
we're rocking the green screen just to give it the effect of it being in water.
Now they're actually in a body of water. And now they're in a body of water.
Where was that filmed?
But
that bit?
This was in Macremorne.
Where?
This is
in Hardhome.
No, this is Macremorne, mate.
Oh.
This is bloody Macremorne. They were still... Still like...
That's Hardhome, isn't it?
It's the same shot from Hardhome.
Yeah.
Same one.
We just pulled out we took the same shots and we just replaced the actors and replaced the background and replaced the boat. It was easy.
Brilliant. That's just what takes my breath away, all that. SFX.
I remember that tree.
There's no way to talk about Liam. Good night, everyone.
We're not talking about it. I was saying they left a shot in episode 3 of Liam at the very end when Melisandre dies, which I'm really glad about because I really loved his performance in that. It was really good.
I still haven't seen that yet. Can't wait.
See,
I know.
All these things you're missing.
But that's the thing, man. I didn't watch the first 3 series because I just couldn't watch my big fat face through my own fingers. And now I watch it like a fanboy. I just think, oh my god, that's amazing. So I've got all those series to watch.
That's pretty good. Fabs admitted the other day that he hadn't watched
Any of it.
the show, and then he admitted that he had. It was very complicated.
Why did you deny it in
Very
the first place,
complicated.
St. Peter?
Don't tell anyone.
Why, Fab, did you deny it in the first place? Just because you didn't want to be like, oh, I watched my own work. Is that why?
No, I think I told the truth in the first place, and then I felt embarrassed.
okay. Okay, fair
And so
enough.
he lied.
Well, a lot of us did that about the books, to be honest. I mean, I didn't lie, but I heard other people, yes, I've read them. And I was like, no, I haven't.
I remember going to have my first interview with David and Dan and saying to them, which was true, I can actually say that I have watched this show all the way through, and I can tell you all about it because I had. It was one of the only shows I've ever worked
but
on.
that's how
where I'd seen
nerds find
everything.
each other out in the crowd. That analytical study and retentive nature of... so when was your first episode then? What was your first... You said you knew about it, so there'd obviously been a series at least before you came in.
I was season 5.
Oh,
That was my first
fresher.
episode.
That's
I
so
got the job.
weird. I feel like you've been there all the time. And Fabe. That's so strange.
Fabs was season 4.
No.
I was season 5.
Who was your director in 4, Fabs?
It was Alec.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And do you remember we were doing the Tyrion's trial
Yes.
scene?
Yes.
That was my
Wow.
first episode.
God, that's so weird.
It was a while
Oh,
ago.
because
It's
me,
ages ago.
Sophie, and Maze, like we were all 12 when we started. Sorry, Miguel. What's funny? Isaac's 2 months older than me, actually, but I just had a better time. I partied more. That's all. But I do remember the first season.
But it was
Sorry, Fab. Go ahead.
no, go on.
Just saying things and not having a fucking clue what I was saying. You know that I had scenes in the dungeons with brilliant Sean Bean. I was just so nervous anyway because I was working with him, and I think that might have been one of my first scenes was with him. And I just was talking about Stannis. We hadn't seen any of these people yet, and because I hadn't read the books, it felt like a Beckett play. That I was just saying things and I didn't really. I do now, of course. I'm of encyclopedic knowledge of it all.
I remember the first scene that I remember of Game of Thrones as in that stuck in my memory was you and Littlefinger walking down through the throne room, which was done in a tracking shot.
I could be wrong, but I have a feeling they were written. Not all of those were originally in, and that because we were all finding our feet, and I could be wrong, and if I am, I apologize, but that some of those were added to make up times and episodes and things, and they were such fun to do, and he's so brilliant.
That was fun. I just remembered something.
What?
You know what? This was actually the
For
first scene we
God's
shot.
sake, make your mind up. Oh, well, that's a fantastic scene.
It was pretty good.
Now, they're
It
two
was
of
a-
the finest actors on the show. They're all fine, but and their scenes are always good. Through this series.
That was a tricky scene to light.
It really was. And also I remember Nikolai, when we did the rehearsal for this, he said to me, well, I'm just a prop in this. And I was
For
like, no, you're not.
God's sake.
And we got into this conversation. It was really interesting because I think it was also, again, it's the same thing. They're final scenes for characters. And this was really up there amongst like his final
I agree.
moments. And he was feeling emotional about it. He didn't really want to kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
And he was feeling, and Tyrion's talking. Peter's got so much stuff to say in this. And he has to just absorb and react. And so his initial reaction was like, well, what was the point of me being here? And then he did, for me, at the end, one of my favourite performances I think I've ever seen Nikolai do, which is when he suddenly realises this is the last time he'll ever see his brother.
Yeah.
He tears up, but in the most real way. And it was like the second to last take we did of the day.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't tell whether it was, like, it just felt suddenly like it was real. Like Nikolai was realising this is the last scene I'm ever going to do with Peter. And he kind of put it into the performance. I found it incredibly moving. And the only shame was that it was just too dark.
Maybe he just thought I've been doing this for 10 hours. When the hell can I go home now?
I never spend 10 hours on anything. That's what I mean. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I felt really lucky to, I would be in my garden in the afternoon while you guys were still working away.
Wait, in your death scene, you spent all bloody night standing there.
Yeah,
in the
but
freezing
I'd
cold.
all
What are you
day in
talking
my
about?
garden before that.
All right.
And then we were rained off early, so I got home early anyway. So, maybe I'm just a glass half full kind of guy. Or maybe I'm just half full,
If it weren't for you,
I always really liked this scene because I always really liked
Oh,
these
look
two
at
brothers.
his
I
face
found
there.
it. See,
Yeah,
that was it. That was the moment. And it wasn't even that he was cheering up. It was like I saw his face change in this funny way where it moved into, he was there completely like taken up by that moment.
Both everybody, and you know what? Everybody was good to start, and I think they all got better. From series one right through,
I'd
I
agree
think
with
they just everybody got better and better and better each year. Oh, get married, why don't you? Oh, that's sweet.
Where do we shoot that, Fabs?
In a Banbridge.
There was on a stage. We put a tent in the stage, and I remember. No, I was in the paint hall, and I remember having a massive discussion with the art department because I said, I need to have some kind of light source in there to justify the lighting. And then they said, well, but they wouldn't put some kind of flame bar into the tent because it could burn down. Anyway, in the end, I got the flame bar.
Of course you did.
Well, it's the theme is fire for this whole scene, of this whole episode. It really is. It's all about fire. Do you see? The firepower of the dragons, the fire that kills the virus.
And bells, I've noticed.
I tell you, Varys had a scene years ago where he said, I hate the sound of bells. Yeah.
Did he?
Just before the Battle of Blackwater. But that was the days when we didn't have budgets to do entire battles. So you would just see us getting ready for battle and then coming out of battle.
And then now we've gone and spoiled it by having more battles.
But look at this.
Ah, joy.
It's so cool to watch this because for me, it's like when I did season 4 and I did those 2 episodes, at the end of that, I thought they're never going to ask me back to come and do another season. And then when they did ask me back, that was like a real surprise. And then that's how Mig and I met. So that was...
Well, good team.
And then to watch this season, which is, at the end, which is, that's very nice.
I didn't even get to choose you, Fabs. You were forced on me.
You couldn't say no.
Yeah, you were forced on me. I said, oh my God, I'm working with a grumpy German. And it turned out that you're actually Fabi Michael.
Oh, you knew that already before you met me?
No. Mate, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. You were only ever grumpy on 2 different days on Battle of the Bastards and most of season 1. But apart from that, the best thing about Fabs, everybody should know, is that on the first season where I was basically either sinking or swimming, every single weekend, Fabian used to text me or call me to check to see if I was okay.
Aww.
No one else had ever done that before in my life, and it made me just go, I love this guy. Because not only was he good, but he gave a shit.
Yeah, I remember meeting the both of you for
I had an expensive phone bill.
I think for the first time in Pensacola, in Spain. And we all went out one night. Yeah. That's all I remember. But I don't remember having worked with you before. And it was you, Charlie, you first, and Fab.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, wait, was that the night that we went to that upstairs place in that? No, that was... Oh, it was. And then this crowd gathered outside and we couldn't get out.
Well, I'd left by then. But they always think I'm a wine waiter or something. Can you get out of the way? I'm trying to take...
All right, look.
Look, now all the good stuff's coming up. Now all the kind of battle...
Yes, we just missed all this good stuff.
Oh, look at that.
There was an interesting story behind the building of this whole set, because we went around Madrid on a scout for 10 days, going to every single castle. I think 33 different castles we went to with the intention of shooting
Madrid?
it in Spain.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Freeman, who was on the shoot at the time, the DP, said the only problem is in episode 6, when it snows, we need to have it overcast. Otherwise, sun with snow isn't going to work. It's going to look funny. And so we came back and we had multiple discussions, apart from the fact Dubrovnik didn't want to let us burn it down.
I wasn't there.
We decided that we were going to build the entire set. The problem we had was that the set was in a car park.
It was astonishing. It's Chris Newman, our line producer. I just walked past the frame. Sorry. Yeah, no, he didn't. So an extra looked like him.
The problem was, so you see that set, you see what that is, but that is Macron, so that's one location. Then they're actually looking at nothing. And then when you turn it around, look the other way, we're actually standing on a hill of rubbish looking at the set in the car park in the middle of Belfast.
I remember that.
But actually, they're looking at the green screen from episode 3.
Yes.
No way. Oh, you see.
Yeah.
Oh, look, that's the... Oh, no.
Oh, there, this is me.
Look at Lena.
Lena
She's she's no lines and she still
Perfect head of hair.
steals every scene. Oh, and Anton, he'll be thrilled because Liverpool won the Champions League. He's a big Liverpool supporter.
Just as well. And then this doesn't exist.
No.
I suppose people do.
I don't know. That's so impressive. Who would live in a house like this? What?
No idea. I remember when we were shooting or when we were planning all of this, the most complicated thing was trying to remember what was where. Because there were so many little pieces. Although this one was simpler than 3, right, Fabs?
Fabs is sleeping.
Yeah, I thought that in the beginning, but I actually think this was probably more complicated.
What, in the long run?
Well, just shooting it after 75 days of shooting the other episode.
They're all trying to grab the door. Have you noticed? It's just strange. And I liked this shot because it had loads of faces in it. The extras were fantastic.
But they always
in
were
this.
and everything.
By the time we got to this shoot, it felt like you had like the most dedicated group of people you could have, and every single time you put your camera on somebody or you ask somebody to do something, they would always come up with the goods.
Such a huge, look, when it first started, it was like a village, right? And now it's like a small, big town. And when you watch it and you watch the making ofs and all those things, there are people I'm going like, I never knew they existed because I never had any battle scenes. So I never had any dealings with Tommy in the armory or any of the stuntmen or any.
Yeah.
So there's a whole, like, thousands of people involved. And stuff.
So
I forgot what I was talking about. Wake up. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
It's
Pilo.
Again, all shot on a green screen stage.
Oh, in Banbridge, yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. This was on a stage. That was on a green screen stage in the paint hall.
Ship behind.
No, we were going to shoot it. We were going to put it really on the ship. That kind of platform.
It was just too complicated.
It was too complicated.
Oh my God. Sorry. Just proved that I'm a real fan. Oh my God.
That was Johnny the stuntman.
See? No idea. The way you know him and everything, I'm like, what?
I feel like I almost knew the names of all 60, 80 stuntmen at the end.
Well, you must have worked with more than any old director with all those battles.
Probably.
This was a motion control rig where Pilo was following a laser that was running along the green screen, portraying the arc of the dragon, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that he could see where it was at any one time because we had to keep it consistent.
So good.
Whoa. Then we really blew up the platform at the end.
That's what you want, though.
It was his last scene, so.
Oh my God! Look at that.
Wish I could fly like that.
You can.
Certainly in your head and your creativity.
I do like this episode.
I like them all. I think. Well, I mean, like I said, I still have 2, 3, and 4 to watch. I cannot wait.
Did you know what was
I read all the scripts and everything. I always got all the scripts. And I swear to God, every season I got all the scripts. I read them like a fanboy. I read them all in one sitting, and I read all of them, not just highlight me, white noise, highlight me. And then even after reading them and thinking they're brilliant, when they show us the episodes, they're even more brilliant. So I don't know how everybody does it, but they do. because you think nothing could beat your imagination. I had one day when Melisandre was being executed. I had 4 days standing in front of that big wall. That was the kind of most action movie thing I ever did.
You mean Miss Sunday?
Oh, yes, I did. I'm so sorry. Natalie, yeah. Miss Andy, not Melisandre.
We'll just call her Natalie.
I haven't seen her death yet. I'm looking forward to that. Not because she dies, but that'll be in the papers now too. Fat, ugly, bald actor lashes out at Dutch beauty.
And do you remember this shot, Fabs?
The burning.
The burning, which was, what was it? It was a lot of people we burned. And
you could, 22 people, wasn't it?
You could feel the heat from them burning when it all went off, even though we were standing
right
there.
This shots, yeah. That took quite a while to work.
Oh
that
my
one
God!
out.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! I would have soiled myself at this point, I think.
And then there was a very simple rig here that he fell onto, and the spear came up.
What, you mean we didn't kill him?
Look at all that war, how they did all that and everything as well.
Yeah, it was
And
is
it as bloody and
Yeah,
horrible
it's great.
as you
I
wanted
mean,
it
there's
to
really
go?
great stunts here.
Did it show?
What's that?
Are you happy with how bloody and horrible the horror of war was in it, and the horror of kind of? Oh,
this part was fine. We were trying to make it a bloodless
that's
coup.
after the belt.
I think later on, later on, once they surrender and then it turns into a massacre, it was we shot a lot of stuff. It was a delicate balance to try and find the right amount so that people didn't tune out, but at the same time they remained disturbed by the fact that this was the thing they'd be dreaming of.
that's fantastic. And what's this? Is this all? Oh, look at that.
That's CG. That's a set with a CG. No, that's Dubrovnik.
No, that was Dubrovnik. Yeah.
Oh, it's just fantastic. Sorry, go ahead.
We had a lot of conversations. One of the interesting things that I used my litmus test each season was Fabs, because basically Fabs would come in and I would have I've been there or been kind of with the script for a couple more weeks than he has, and he'll show up and I'll pitch him how I want to make this particular battle. And the first time it was us trying to figure out something that we'd never figured out before, but then from then on it was about finding the right way to do something different and at the same time not do something different just for the sake of it and not try and better ourselves, etc. And I remember this season was particularly hard and this episode was particularly hard because it was trying to figure out what the point of view was, so that it didn't feel like, because in Battle of the Bastards it was kind of about the John's journey into darkness, and in this episode there's so many characters coming to their conclusion that it was hard to tell what was the point of view of the story. And eventually the thing we came up with was what have we become, which is, I think, speaks to what you were talking about earlier. But it was trying to instill that in the way that we were shooting it as well, make it not feel like we were just shooting violence.
Which are in January, isn't that right? So that was the year before we started filming, and you were already working on it, and that was like months and months and months and months and months before.
Yeah, I think it was nearly a year and a half, nearly 2 years on both episodes. I mean, in total, like
but you just go into it full
until
tilt
we
and
finished.
everything. Just it's very admirable.
All stupid.
Well,
Not sure
speak
which.
for themselves. Look at him in his light costume. And by the way, I started the man bun in the 80s. Get over it. Okay.
But I always like this.
I love the fumble.
Go on.
I'm glad they're back together again.
They really are. this guy who's playing this guy here was really, really good. He was.
This is one of the most horrible
he
moments.
did a really
I feel,
good incarnation
when they surrender and there's anyway. Well, you've watched it already. What am I worried about? Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, you don't have to hold back. But I think between them, what we were trying to do was we were trying to make it feel like Tyrion and Dany and Cersei were almost in a room together. The eye lines were correct, so that it felt like they were all looking at each other directly, because really it was between them, and that the people who were in the centre were the kind of incidentals. But even though as much as we could, we tried to give everybody jobs and tasks and things and stories and have you, like making that a couple, for example. So absolutely. That it personalised everything.
I found him very, very tricky to work with, the dragon, not Kit. Bit of a diva. And he was, between ourselves, a bit of a drinker. And
he used
to get drunk and then try and deflect. Rather than just keep his head down and get on with his job. Look at that, look. Surrender. And he's happy. Let's shut up. Stop talking. Oh, I'm so glad he didn't. Now, nothing. What are you wearing? Flip-flops, which you call thongs in America, I think. And stickers. Just a few stickers of dragons. And that's it. Where are you sitting? Describe where you are now. For our listeners, we're in 3 different cities.
I'm literally sitting on an iron throne with a rug in front of me with 8 birds.
Birds as in 70s women slang term, or as in, which is wrong, by the way. Or you mean Tweety birds?
No, it's a rug embroidered with 8 birds.
8 birds are on me rug. Nice one. It's because I'm a direct.
Where are you, and what city are you in?
For me, I'm in LA. Fabian, where are you?
I'm in London, and going back home straight after this, because I just had a baby a few days ago. Well, not me, but my wife.
That's 78 now, isn't it? No way.
That's number 1.
What did you have, a boy or girl?
Number 1.
Oh.
A little girl.
Wait, something really, really, really important is happening here, other than Fab's baby.
What did you call her? Khaleesi. Oh, what a lovely name, Fab. No regrets now? Look at this. Look at this transformation, though. Oh, that's so good. Look, the tension. Well done, Miguel.
I always like her nostril flare, and I like the way her lips separate in Lena's shot there. These are the things you end up fixating on, paying attention to. And I love the little bit of hair, that lock of hair on his head that keeps blowing in the wind. And then I've got to hand it to Amelia, who was sitting but she did that every year.
And she did it on her own after everyone else had wrapped and finished and left, and she would be stuck in a room with riding like sort of the equivalent of a big bucking bronco thingy, and on her own all day. And she's brilliant. Look at that.
This time she really outdid herself, I thought. And I remember going in there, because at that point I think we were shooting 3 units at the same time, so we'd run from unit to unit and run in there for each of these scenes, and we'd do a few takes, and then I'd run out, and then I'd come back, and it was a bit.
But for this year they didn't do those at the very end, did they? It was mostly. Oh, did they still do that?
No, they did. They did. It's just. They still did it, and it was basically
at least Kit was on it with her this time. Usually she was on her own.
Yeah. No. Always shot separately. Even the scenes where they're together in episode 3, they were shot separately. Yeah.
Well, I think that's why this episode turned out to be, I think, in my mind, more tough Mick than Ep 3, because when we first started, I always thought, Ep 3 is the big one.
Yeah.
But then once we actually started shooting this, and we had the 3 units, and we were running between all the stages.
And we were still shooting parts of episode 3, elements of episode 3 while we were shooting episode 5, and I was also editing episode 3 as we were shooting episode 5 in the evenings. So I'd shoot in the day and
I don't know how you do
go
it.
to the edit room in the evenings.
It's all fantastic. Oh God. Oh.
Stop it. It'll all end in tears.
Someone's going to get hurt.
I like that Fabs. That one worked out well.
Bit of slow motion,
Yeah. And then we put this little bit in of Jacob turning around, Graham turning around and seeing what he believes to be the treachery of Jon Snow in that moment. These were super cool. These were blood axes that we used, which were basically axes where the head was made out of wax.
Look at that
and
action
filled
hero,
with
Jacob.
blood.
Sorry.
And so whenever you would hit, he would totally go for it. He really enjoyed doing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oops. Whenever you would hit someone with this wax axe, the head would explode and the blood would come out. So it looked really, really good. And then I remember shooting this whole sequence with Jacob, and he was stabbing people so hard the head of the spear kept flying off.
He's so method. Oh my goodness.
And that's real as well.
Yeah, the burns look very good.
Who
Yeah,
did
the
that?
birds were
Who's
good.
the guy that was
Those
in charge
were-
of all the
those-
fire and everything, or woman?
Rowley is a stunt
But all
coordinator.
this was
did a
amazing
great
as
job.
well,
on
like,
this
just
episode.
cursing up.
He
and
did a
down.
great job on season 8.
It's Peter Dinklage there.
Yeah. And we had.
I thought he
think-
got
I-
away.
I wanna
You
say that
see,
we had-
cheesy, horrible people.
We had something like 90 stuntmen and women for 4 days for this
And they all
sequence,
worked so hard.
and 400 extras, and we had to create these controlled
So
environments where they would each
Can you remember, like,
choose
days
buddies.
how long this would have... Sorry, I keep interrupting you like a terrible
Oh, yeah.
interview.
Yeah, no, the sequence from the moment of the second attack, the second wave,
Yeah.
through all of this section was 4 days. It
That's,
was
I
4
thought that
days
would have
until
been
they
more,
ran out
actually,
of
but
the
that's
city.
great. That's amazing.
And I mean, there's
Yeah,
stuff
of
on
course.
either side, and there's obviously the dragon, there's all the stuff with Cersei, but all of this kind of action, which were specific vignettes and scenes, that was about 4 days worth of work. And every day we would basically have to put all of these people together, get them excited, get them understanding what they were doing, and make sure that they never ever
Our
crossed the
kids
line.
always a
and it was never
brilliant sort of lens,
unsafe.
though, to shoot off because they don't have
Yes.
the same kind of cynicism.
Yeah.
I'll take that line again. Cynicism, as
It
they're just like out of the mouths and the eyes of babes, what they see and what they. Oh.
The interesting thing with the kids, though, is that because they're kids,
No.
you also don't
So
want
they
to
obviously
subject
weren't
them
looking
and
at
make them look at things. That was the fine line to walk, is figuring out ways in which we could shoot them and we could make things work that felt like they were part of these terrible scenes without subjecting them to it.
Find somewhere to hide.
No, but again, it's one of the horrible realities of war, and if you have an objection to it, go out and try and stop it happening in the real world. We're just making people aware of the atrocities and consequences of war.
I always think, though, that particularly with kids, adults can make their own decisions, but with kids, you don't want them to go to set and get traumatized by something that they've seen or experienced. You want to make sure that whatever they do is understood as like being playing. You just need to be mindful of that stuff, because I know that can affect people in different ways. I know.
You go ahead. You're talking,
Sorry,
and I just go,
after
now
you.
this, like, shut up.
all I was going to say was that the interesting thing for me is that I found doing day in, day out of atrocities and murder and all these stuff, even though
Are
we
you
were
numb
just
to it or not?
recreating those things, it got pretty weird actually after a while. I remember going home and sitting down at home with my kid after like a day of sawing somebody's head off or something like that, and finding myself feeling pretty out of sorts.
Well, I think that's
Like even
that's
this,
much
even the
healthier
fight between these two
than going
guys.
home going, that was fun. That would be a bit sick. This is filmed. That's all I was going to interrupt to say. What Ian Cushion done, and I had already wrapped. And I remember having dinner in my hometown with Pilu and Nikolai, because they were filming this about 12 miles from where I live.
Yeah, I remember them going to dinner with you, and me sitting there thinking, "Oh God, they're going to get really, really drunk, and then they're going to come in, and then they're going to come in tomorrow."
I don't know who
And
you thought I was. You're a bad influence. Don't think so, mate.
You were a man not working,
but I was in my
influence,
hometown, so I wasn't going to do anything. Not that I would anyway. This sounds terrible. Though. Where are we going with it? But yeah, look at that.
So when these two guys were doing this fight, they kept on speaking to each other.
Rude. Yeah, how rude.
In Danish, yeah. And so we'd be doing these scenes, and they'd suddenly like get to a thing and to a moment, and they'd start speaking to each other in Danish, and you'd have no idea what they were saying. And some of it was quite complicated, the fights that they were doing. But they did love to suddenly go.
Well, it's their first
Danish,
language, you see.
I would have no idea. Yes. It's just helpful when you're the director and you're asking people to stab each other that you know what they're about to do.
But they're great lads, the two of them.
They were good. I always feel, for some reason, find it really upsetting when he was stabbed there.
Yeah,
especially the fact that he crawls away and kind of like lies down there.
Actually. Even though I'd read it. Yeah.
This was a really tough 2 days.
It was a tough 2 days.
Oh, tough 2 days, and it was a horrible place to light.
Yeah.
I was very happy when that was over.
You did.
But you did good,
well
mate,
done, everyone.
It came out pretty well.
Gold stars all around.
Maker's Hold Fast would be a better place to wait out the storm.
I really liked her performance.
I like her performance and everything. I think she's so good. They're all so fucking good.
Well, it was funny as well because every season I've done quite hardcore scenes with Lena, and we always would do these kind of scenes where she would be, where it seemed to us that she should be really super emotional, and we would do emotional takes, and then David and Dan would always either they were there and they would say bring it down, or they would cut it out. And so we never got to do, like when Tommen dies, we had a really emotional take. They used a different kind of take in the final edit. This was the one time where they made no restrictions on her in terms of being emotional. And it was kind of great because there's some heavy stuff in this episode and they didn't stop her. And I think that was a really interesting choice on their part.
But she was great when she got imprisoned and she drank the water off the floor, didn't she? That was.
But remember, they wouldn't let her show her emotion. Oops, sorry, Peter. In the same way as they did in this one. I do like it when he turns the sword in this. Because needs a little bit of
he was a bad one.
That was that rock that he's lying against was the only rubber rock, and I remember we couldn't remember sometimes if we had put which one was rubber, which one wasn't.
We wouldn't have done that with his hair.
No,
then we cut to another location for that bit.
Those are the same location. Interestingly enough, yeah, we put a little temporary wall.
We built the wall. Yeah,
you should have had a dinette in it. One of those hatches. Oh, look at the devastation, everyone. Oh, but all that I did, because in my early years, darling, I was in the small council and there's studios all the time and I loved it. And I always felt bad that me and Peter went off on our 18 to 30 holiday and left Lena on her own. Yeah, because we were always giggling the whole way through it, you know. And then it was Lena and the old men, and Charlie.
Yes,
you know, in his prime, obviously. Charlie Dance.
This is my favourite love story of the whole show.
Oh, Rory's but Rory's kind of like that in real life. Not looks like that, but he's kind of. I remember the scene in the amphitheatre when he had to pull the White Walker out of the box and everything.
You come with me. You die here.
I really like that moment where he puts his hand around the back of her head, and I really liked her performance. She did a fantastic job of that.
She's brilliant. But they're all just her and Sophers, and Isaac, all the kids. Kids, I call them, the young people now. I remember Maisie. We flew in, we filmed in Malta the first season as kind of a southerly place. And I had to get a flight from Belfast to somewhere like Paris, to somewhere else, and I eventually arrived, and she and Sophie were lying up on the roof by the pool. It's about 6 o'clock at night. And you did forget that it was a job and not a holiday. And I kind of went, she went, "Are you all right?" She was only 12 something. And I said, "Well, I've had a very full day of flying." And she went, "Oh, you're here now, relax." And that was the way she was the whole way through. It was just like really old souls in these young bodies that told you to wise up and behave. How did you do that?
This is our favourite set.
How did you do that?
Well, a tough set. That was a tough set.
In the
Toughest set I've ever
paintball
had
as
on
well?
Game of Thrones, I think.
That was. It was.
In
It was
the
a.
paintball,
It was like an 80. I don't know. Was it 80 foot or was it?
I think it was about 80 foot.
80
foot high. It went straight to the top of the ceiling of the paint hole.
Wow. 72 steps that we had to lug everything up and down. A central column so we could stick a crane in, and it had to fall to pieces at the beginning of the sequence, and so we had to start at the bottom half and cheat it as if it were the top half, because the top half was in its destroyed state. And then we had to have these two guys fight.
It's a shame you cut
9 days?
the Mountains monologue.
I just
that was really, I thought it was a beautiful speech in the script, and you could have kept it. Yeah,
he had a great speech.
And there was no space to hang any lights.
And what's that behind? Is that blue screen or is that?
It was a really tough
green screen.
Green screen, yeah. That was green screen.
That's an ignominious death. I'm afraid that's the worst. That is just like fuck off. Okay. I love the way she sneaks past him here as well.
And Lena's like,
"Oh, right.
We did various versions actually. We did a version where she stopped and he lets her go. We did a version where she looks behind her and she's so frightened that she starts running forward and she ends up nearly running into him. We did a version where she just walked past and then left it to Dan and David to kind of decide what they wanted to do at the end. We did that a lot.
You always give them loads of choices.
One of the ideas is throughout is you got to give them choices, because you cut the version that you want it to be, and then everybody's different.
No, I didn't like the comments that said that was me.
I think there was about 70.
Come back again. Yes. Oh, young people. Cruel young people.
Joey. I have so many discussions about this. I just don't even know where to start. All those
little snippet shots of the waist behind them. Oh, like the crack up the floor.
This one of my favourite shots coming up is that silhouette behind Nikolai. I love that shot.
Oh, what, when she sees Nikolai for the first time and he's a silhouette leaning against the post, And there was a really nice little shot of
look at her though,
him dropping his sword and it hitting the floor.
Yeah. Of course, but
they were both awesome in this. I really, really like this. Originally, this scene had a whole bunch of dialogue in it, and we ended up we shot it all.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like that in my death scene, there was a lot more speech and that dance number and taking the balloon animals, and you don't lose anything by cutting that. You know, just makes it better.
Yeah. But you know what? The thing that happens is usually in the cut, I'll deliver the cut. the director's cut, that I usually take out things that feel superfluous, but try and keep in as much as possible, because ultimately the kind of dialogue's down to David and Dan. And then gradually over the years I've been a bit braver in making suggestions of cuts, etc. But what will always tend to happen is just the like second to last edit that you see before it's locked, a whole load of dialogue will disappear, like in this one.
You're hurt.
Just not.
And we nearly burned the paint hole down there.
Yeah.
We asked the special effects to put more fire in the background,
Yes.
which they reluctantly did.
Wow.
You got to ask. It was great. Her face in that shot for me as always looks like she looks like a kind of like the little girl version of Lena.
Yeah. Yeah. Of Cersei even. Yeah. Oh, here they're wrecking everything. Oh, that's just like epic. And again, like, how long would they have to rehearse that fight?
They rehearsed this quite a lot, actually, but also the stunt doubles who played an incredibly large part in this sequence, purely from the perspective of
he's setting up shots for you guys and stuff like that. And
and also doing things like the fall, doing like we would have the Mountain could only do a certain number of hours a day because his makeup took so long. And so there
8 hours, I think, wasn't it? 8 hours?
7.5 hours in the chair, every day.
No way.
And so we had to we had to make what was essentially like a full bodysuit for an actor who was the same height as him but nowhere near the same build. So it's essentially like it's, the equivalent of like a fat suit that would bulk him out, and he had to wear that for God knows how many hours every day. And then whenever there were big sequences, we would pit him against Rory, and then there was another stunt guy who played Rory, and so Rory would get exhausted because it was exhausting and couldn't do it all the time, then get replaced. We switched them out a lot. So this is the beginning of what used to be like a 7.5 minute long continuous take that we then cut up in the edit room.
It's going to be all her in one scene, and then you intercut it with other things. That's great.
The point wasn't for it to be a continuous take. The point was for it to feel like you were with, the people who are being bombed, essentially. The people on the ground.
Absolutely.
And we did lots of horrible things.
But even if so, I mean, it's still a long shot, and there's so much went into just this. What is it, minute and a half?
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, to make these different sections work.
Oh my God.
And then I think the thing that was interesting, which I probably wouldn't have happened to me before, I would have wanted to hold on to the sequence because of the filmmaking aspect of it. But I realised now, having done a whole bunch of battles, that it wasn't as important as it was that it felt the right thing in the flow of what we were shooting. So this moment, for example, when she hits the ground, suddenly we realised that the love story that I was really keen to kind of push between her and the Hound, there was an opportunity to parallel stuff. And so basically we ended up
right.
Well, actually Tim Porter, the editor, ended up finding some great way of taking what was a continuous shot, using some foreground wipes so we could use different takes and giving the impression that we'd shot multiple different kinds of coverage, and making it feel the way it felt. I love those punches from the Mountain. They really hurt.
Yeah. Oh.
And then he smacks him. But the point being, it was really one of the things I liked about the process of making this episode that was different from the others is I had all the experience of everything we had done before. We had learned, me and Fabs, this way of shooting. We knew was effective and gave us coverage, but also gave us stuff that we didn't know we would necessarily going to need. So we had options.
Yeah.
Because we had 4 cameras, 5 cameras on there. And it also then created this opportunity to remake the movie in the edit according to what seemed like the right thing, what had worked, what hadn't worked.
Well, you can only do that if you've got enough stuff to play with.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and what I always find the most impressive about the show, which is why I think it just always has worked so well and looked that good, is that all the special effects are for real. I mean, everything that's falling in that Aya shot, for example, everything, all the debris falling down, all the explosions, is all for real. And then enhanced later, obviously, but
God.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not completely for real. It's like
no, but
semi.
the base is, the base is.
There's always something there which is basically gets it going,
Which
and then
is
they
real.
build on.
Yeah.
Oh, look, he pops his eyes out. Bless.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Holly St. Joseph. I was there for that original fight. It was fab. 4 days in Croatia.
Not 4 days on a set. Oops.
No, 4 days in the most beautiful amphitheater on the coast, Adriatic coast. Just sitting like chess pieces, watching poor Pedro and Haftor.
So the day we finished this,
4 days.
Rory was so relieved, and I went to see him. He got his boat, and he bought a boat with, what he'd earned from doing Thrones, and it was his dream boat.
Yeah.
And he was leaving.
Yeah.
And he really wasn't planning on coming back. And I remember going to see him for a drink on his boat at Rap, and he looked so happy.
Yeah. Well, he's such a nice man as well. Like but he cares so much about his work and about getting it right and everything.
But he was. I think he hated the stairs more than I did.
Yeah. Well, it looks like the longest musical number ever. All that choreography. There's Liam. Well, there was Liam. There's Kit again. There's Liam again.
They had to do a lot. There was a lot of looks between these guys. There's also got there's this shot that happens now where he's walking down and he tries to tell some people to leave and they get hit by fire. That was 2 passes,
that was real.
but it was real. Yeah, that was crazy. That.
Wow. That's all amazing.
And every time we used to turn the fire up on all of these buildings, it used to take 2 or 3 minutes to plumb all the gas through all the different places. And you could hear the roar of the fire on the set. And every now and then it would stay on fire after they turned the flame bars off.
Yeah. I know, it's amazing what they do. It's really amazing.
Oh, amazing.
Maisie spilt her chips of red sauces all over her face.
This sequence actually originally extended. It got changed. I do like the fact that she runs here.
Oh, that's so good.
That's it?
Right, is that it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Where are we?
I'd quite like to see this one on a big screen.
Yeah, I would.
I'd like to see them all on a big screen. John Bradley West in Hollywood, he went to a big screen.
That was long
He said
night,
it was
yeah.
fantastic. Particularly 3, I'd love to see on the big screen. I haven't seen it yet on the little screen. Oh, look at that. Beautiful
We can't
pictures.
stay here.
There's my missus up on the
You
top.
have to keep moving.
Alex.
We can't go up there.
Yeah.
No way.
There, up top. She's the one
Where,
that's
where,
talking
which
about
one?
him.
Joe's dead. If you stay here,
Yeah,
you'll
I
die.
never knew
there.
that.
Follow me.
Oh.
She's the naysayer.
Oh,
Follow me.
I've got to watch that again.
She was like, give me a kid. I need to look after a kid today.
Oh.
Oh, another bell.
She was line of duty. That's the other thing she was
Oh,
in.
that's right.
remember doing this. Remember this.
This was tough.
All of these sequences basically have to be, pre-designed, and we get because
Exactly.
because they're all
Choreographed
stunt.
and everything.
It's all stunt work, and we're using real actors. We have to make it safe for the actors. We have to make it safe for the horses. We have to make sure there's no chance of anyone getting hurt. Horses always first.
obviously.
This
they're
shot,
active.
for example, which is the end of the 7.5 minute shot.
Yeah.
The start of it is when she started running into the. When she comes to, actually, this is the continuous shot when she comes to, isn't it? Oh, so we did keep some of it.
The girl was great, wasn't she?
That was excellent.
Great performance.
And so to the Dragon Skull room.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
I did a scene in there.
We had run out of stage by the time we were shooting this. There was nowhere to shoot it, and they had to build this gigantic set because we couldn't go back to Spain, I think, to where the original location was.
The original one was in Malta.
Yeah.
And Ari, as a little girl, heard me and Illyrio. He had come over in secret, and it was they had huge, big dragon skulls in this place in Malta. So at least they knew how to recreate it because they had it on film.
So I went to look at it when we were out on our scout. We were standing there. I was like, "This is great," but literally, they're never going to let us even drop dust in this place because it's a beautiful old basement of a castle.
Right.
So the entire thing had to be built on a stage. And then, interestingly, over to the left of where Nikolai is right now, there was a platform with some green screen behind it, which is where we shot your death for the second time.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah,
that's what that was. Oh,
yeah.
So the second time.
I think it was the second time. It might have been the third time. You never know.
Okay.
I don't want to die.
So this was an interesting scene for me because usually Dave and Dan never want us to go off script. They don't like the actor saying anything that isn't written. And we had reached a point where we were doing this scene, and it was quite a difficult scene to find the right tone for. I eventually went to Dave and Dan and I was like, "Can you just let these guys improvise because they need to get there on camera?" And they said, "Yep, absolutely fine."
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that though.
They just let us do our thing, and I was really proud of them. Yeah.
They so got there, didn't they? Yeah, look at them. Oh. Well, that's kind of, the one consolation was I was in good company.
You were in good company. And originally we were going to send a firebomb through here that was going to burn them all to hell, and then Dave and Dan decided they wanted to find they wanted Tyrion to find the bodies in 6.
Yeah, that was.
They were like,
powerful as
"You
well,
can't, they can't be tainted in any way. They can't be smashed up." And I was like, "Well, how the bloody hell are we going to do that?"
Yeah.
So we covered them in bricks.
That's what I always do, and I want to be untainted.
It's the best way to do it.
Look at that. The ash falling rather than the snow.
This
Well,
is
it's snow
one of
as
my
well, isn't it?
Favourite scenes that Fabs has shot.
How did she lose the horse?
How did she lose the horse? Well,
did the horse get killed or something?
No, she never had the horse.
Oh, the horse just pointed the way out. She walked behind it.
She needed to get out of there, and it was a long way to go. So we gave her a horse.
Cool.
Very poetic.
Yeah, they hate to kind of destroy all of the fan theories.
But isn't fan theory like a bit like equals gossip? As in, if I say it sincerely enough, it means there's some merit to it.
Well,
like my character was a mermaid, and I still don't know where the fuck that came from.
I think that people read into things what they want to read into things, and I'm sure unconsciously I wanted this to be dreamlike. We wanted it to be raining the ash, which is the bodies of all the dead people, and
it's fantastic.
Her to be standing in the middle of fire, and so the imagery was purposefully dreamlike. Her face, I saw this thing the other day which was making comparison between Lim Klimov's Come and See, the little boy in that Russian movie, and Maisie's face in this, which I'm sure I love a Lim Come and See, so I could see the comparison there. Like you do things without thinking about them.
Yeah.
But you also do things for practical reasons. In the script originally, she took out a whole bunch more people before she ran away.
There's the horse.
And took their horse. And then in the end, it was like, we need her to get to a horse. And it became more interesting, the idea that in the midst of all of this really very real destruction, suddenly there's this magical moment where she sees this horse, and the horse, if I was, I don't know if I thought of this at the time, but I guess the horse is hope.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
I just preempted it. I'm sorry. I thought she'd already got it and lost it. I was going, why did she lose the horse? Because she hasn't fucking found it yet.
For me, the interesting thing is that, especially with a show like this, I guess it happens with any shows that lots of people watch. People start to make up their own theories and stories about why things are. I just remember shooting
it's also
this
they've
shot.
invested 10 years in it, and they feel they own it.
They
But a big hand to Camille and all her crowd as well.
Yeah.
Who was our horsewoman.
But they also want to, people want to find meaning in all sorts of things, and usually they find things that you hadn't even thought of. And I just remember when we were shooting this, particularly that shot where she walks over to him and there's the sun happens to be shining through between them.
Are you slow motion there as well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I remember
Fantastic.
thinking, it's a dream, right?
Wow.
And we leveled King's Landing.
So that was such an amazing structure that they built as well. Like all those streets.
It was awesome.
But I suppose they had to do that to light it.
Oh, yeah.
What? Is that it?
That's it.
That was a nice ending.
Well done.
I was hoping I could watch the episode properly, but you guys were talking all the way through it.
I know, I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. I live alone, you see, and I don't get to talk to other people very much. And when I do. So what did you call your daughter then? Oh, do you want to say? I suppose you don't want to say. Well, everybody's happy and healthy.
She's called Leto Indiana Wagner.
Lovely.
Leto is a Greek goddess of motherhood.
Oh. Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's your best production yet, mate.
I know. It's definitely.
I think F5 is pretty good.
Yeah, you're going to be pretty tired after that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very, very much for watching, everybody.
Yeah, and thanks for all your support over the years, for watching us and buying this DVD or Blu-ray.